This is Dance Studio 411, where we answer your real-life questions about your toughest studio life predicaments. Parent problems, teacher turnover, student challenges, policy dilemmas, and so much more. Let's talk about what's keeping you awake at night and what you can do about it. Here are your hosts, Suzanne Blake Gerety and Jill Tirone.
Welcome, everyone, to this episode of our Dance Studio 411 podcast. And our topic today is how to raise prices with confidence. And boy, Jill and I are very excited about this topic because we know that you want a lot of support in this area and that it is an uncertain time, but we are here to give you some great information that will hopefully boost your confidence, give you the information to proceed into the new dance season, feeling like you have a plan for your business around your prices. And specifically, Jill, we're going to talk today around raising those prices around the products that you offer your dancers, right? We know in the dance business, it's everything from leotards and tights to t-shirts and logo items and costumes, right?
It is everything, absolutely. And we are here, like you mentioned, Suzanne, to do this with confidence. We want to empower you. We want you to feel really encouraged as you head into this new season, even though there is still some uncertainty around everything that is happening. But that's why we're here.
Exactly. And so with that being said, I want to really frame this episode by making sure that everyone understands how much we appreciate you and that dance education really is priceless for dancers of all ages, and that, it's easy to get caught up in the, final net profit of your business, but we are going to talk about that. But at the same time, I want you all to really feel the support that Jill and I have for all of you and what it takes to bring dance education to life. And these kids, gosh, Jill, haven't we seen it? They need dance education more than ever.
They do. The entire family unit needs it. It's not just those students that you have, it's the entire family that needs them involved in your dance education. And it is absolutely priceless. There's no price tag on getting them involved, getting them in the community, getting them into a team environment. It's just such a wonderful thing. And thank goodness we are, full speed ahead, and we are heading into this new season with that in mind.
Exactly. And we also know that parents of all, no matter where you're located right now, the cost of everything is up. If you don't watch the news, because it's a little depressing, but inflation is impacting lives. And we know that there are ways to combat that. And I am confident that as a dance industry, we can help you navigate through that. And so today, let's talk about a few things as we help you build confidence. I want to make sure that Jill and I shine a light on some of the areas that you may or may not think about very often, but they do impact the cost of things. And so this will help you start with that confidence, but building that foundation. So there are inputs that go into all of the products that you sell your kids and your families. And we're going to highlight a few of them to help you navigate that. So the first and foremost of any leotard, tight, shoe, costume that you sell, raw material costs are up, and it would impact fabrics and trims. Those are one area. The second area is packaging. So corrugated cardboard costs are up. Look at how many people shopped. Jill, we know it. The online shopping during COVID, corrugated cardboard demand went through the roof.
It did, and it caused shortages. And now, obviously, that cost has skyrocketed as well, along with paper in general. Suzanne, we had a studio owner who commented on our recent webinar that we did that they went to print their program and the cost doubled. And you have the great statistic that it's up as much as 40% in the industry. So just paper alone, everything across the board, where it comes, as things process through, they come to you, the packing material, all of that stuff is up in cost.
Exactly. And then the things that you're probably listening and impacts both you personally and your families is the cost of gas and to get anywhere, plus that coupled with the transportation cost. So any product that you're buying, the freight costs have gone up. So just getting the products here to the country or to from the country to wherever it's distributed from, costs are up, and gas and driving around. Jill, we talked about that in a recent training we did with our members, which is that parents are more inclined to stack schedules this year. So think about that. We're not going to get all into that today, but stacking schedules, less trips to the studio, for both you and your parents as a consideration. And then lastly, gosh, the cost of labor is up. So that's impacting both you as a studio owner in paying your own staff and faculty, but also in your vendors you buy from, labor across the board. So not to be a Debbie Downer about this, it's more so to help you understand these sort of, they're like the outlying factors that you don't always think about that impact the final good product price. So we got to start somewhere, right? Definitely.
Good overview.
So when it comes to your dance season, oftentimes we just sort of set it and forget it on certain prices. And Jill and I really want to encourage you right now to take a minute and pause. And it's time to write your prices in pencil, not pen, because where the way you've done it before is not going to work moving forward. We have to remember that 2 years ago, even the cost of prices for your uniform, what it costs to get your dancer in a leotard and tights is going to need to go up. Jill, just basic things like foundation garments, all of those things. I mean, you're a dance mom,
I do. And I have it from, everything that you can imagine goes into the cost of putting your dancer on stage in the classroom. It's really exorbitant and it's gone up. And like you said, Suzanne, what we've done 2 years ago, and especially just in the last year alone, everything has gone up so much. So it's time to really take a hard look at every aspect of your business. It's not just about raising prices in one area, but how can we trim back in a certain spot and then maybe raise in another and offset some of the costs. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about ways to help you add value. We all know, I'm a parent myself too, or any of you listening, you have to get your kid in those uniforms and you'll find a way, and we're going to help you with some value added methods. So when you keep in mind that all of these inputs, those things we talked about a little while ago, are going to drive the price of everything from shoes, foundations, costumes, t-shirt, logo, all the little paper you put in your printer at the studio, printing that, whatever handout you used to print out, you might have to reconsider that. So we just want to help you, start to shine a light on areas that would benefit from a price increase to help support your overall business. So, a couple things that, Jill, we see this often in the hundreds of studios we work with is that there are sometimes we're getting so busy every day that we forget to stop and say, well, what goes into setting prices? So whether you're setting, we're not really specifically talking about tuition today because we really wanted to focus on those items you sell your families, from recital t-shirts to back to class uniforms to the costumes. But studio owners sometimes get tripped up by saying, oh, I'll set my prices by looking at what that studio over there charges, the one down the street. I should set my price against theirs. And while it's tempting to look across, both sides of the road and see what everyone's charging, it's a mistake to do that if you're not really taking the time to know what goes into the cost of prices. So Jill, we see it so right out of the gate, some of the not so fun things, sales tax liability, you have to know, right? You need to be informed.
Absolutely. And this is one of those areas that I feel is pretty gray and fuzzy for a lot of studio owners. So please check in with the state that you're in, what sales tax is applicable for you and what your liability is. And I know that if you have questions when it pertains to things, there are people to consult. You can find things on the internet, but it's definitely best to check because it is state by state across the nation and figuring out what exactly it is that you have to do with your sales tax.
So do that. And then also it's helpful to sometimes use a financial calculator or a spreadsheet to just start to model up these numbers. So I'll admit I used to fearfully run in the other direction of spreadsheets, but I've gotten better about this, and we'll put it in the show notes. But if you Google any sort of online financial calculator, the one that I'm going to speak to is about this profit margin calculator. People get often confused between what do I mark up an item? Like, where do I start? How do I know what to charge? If I look at a price of a costume in this costume book, or I look at the cost of this leotard online, what should I charge? And the basic rule of thumb across the board is whatever the wholesale price is, you just simply double it. And that is giving you a nice margin so that you can start to look at what is that margin giving you? It's the cost to sell the garment to your families, pay the payroll to help do that. There's all the things that money goes towards. And I think we as studio owners have to remember that you're not just taking money for taking money's sake. The margin that you're marking up the product allows you to run the business and offer this service. And so, Jill, we have a great tool if for those of our listeners who do shop online with Revolution, if you specifically go and log into your website account, whenever you see a price of a garment, we will suggest a sell for price, right? Jill, that's the place where studios get a little, tripped up, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. And knowing your numbers is key. So if you're looking at what you're paying for the garments, so whatever it is, it's t-shirts, leotards, tights, and then you take your sell for number, that difference is going to be your profit. And don't forget what you just mentioned, Suzanne, is extremely important. It's not just about money in your pocket, but think about all the hands and the time that it takes to pick out your uniform, get it into the studio. You're paying shipping, you're paying freight, you're paying for time that's involved in getting this all together and getting those on the bodies in your studio. So don't forget to account for that as you're setting your profit margin and your markup.
Exactly. And we really want to encourage you that you don't have to apologize for these prices. So let's just pause for a minute and everyone take a deep breath. Parents need dancewear for their kids. And as much as you sometimes worry about, I don't want to ask them for more money for this, you're doing them an incredible favor and a wonderful service by saying, here's our uniform, here's how you purchase it, whether it's through you or through, you might use a tool like Nimbly that we offer, or however you set it up, you're making it easier for them, not harder. And time is money. So it's like kids need uniforms. They need to be coming to dance class and something, and they might as well come in the products and services that you're making available so that you can help run your business with some cash flow. It provides an opportunity for someone on your staff, or it allows you to earn some extra income offering this important part of the business.
It is a great tool to offer your families. I will definitely say that I am a fan of being able to get things easily and simply at 10 o'clock at night when I know that, my tights are on the way out and I need a fresh pair. So please do not apologize for trying to earn a profit on products, because it is definitely a way to add extra value to your studio and add extra income into your bottom line.
We really just wanted to kind of get the conversation started and kicked off for you, that to first and foremost let you know that you are not alone in the navigating newly an economic climate that we've never seen before. So you've got this. Yes. You have a group of people behind you, Jill and I, and all of our DSO crew and all of the dance industry team that really wants you to be successful, and that the dance industry is thriving and we're going to get through it. So remember, dancewear is important for your kiddos. So are costumes. They are an important part of the performing arts, the fundamental piece of being on stage. And so uniforms are just about in every single sport or activity or recreational part of life. So remember, it's important and it's a good thing, and you do not have to apologize for this. That's what Jill, what you basically were saying, right? I mean, and you're a pro on marketing, Jill. I mean, why don't you share a little bit about how else we can help them with that?
I think it's really important to recognize that it makes your teaching easier when your kids are uniformed, and it can be very simple and very basic. But when you want to market to your parents, it is such an added value to be able to say that we have a dress code for these reasons. And this is to help our students feel all on the same playing field. We all want to look and feel really great as we walk into the studio. It helps our teachers teach. It helps us have a nice cohesive community that we're trying to build in our studio. So it is a really good selling point when you have a dress code, and it can be really simple and very easy to put it in place. But I would really, really stress that in this crazy economic climate, this is a wonderful opportunity for your studio and you as a studio owner to grow and make it a really awesome added value to your studio.
Exactly. And we We also see a lot of our members using some of that dancewear as a registration incentive. So we could talk about this for a whole weekend, but
yes,
there are ways that you can bundle some of the basics, whether it be a pair of ballet slippers or a simple leotard and tights, into the registration incentive. Now, how you go about doing that is up to you. You can creatively use it as a marketing write-off. You can use, some of you earn loyalty vouchers. Some of you have some extra cash that you've generated through maybe some of your recital sales that you can earmark a certain amount of money to allocate towards that new student acquisition. And $25 of wholesale dancewear has an incredible perceived value to a parent. What may cost you $25, a pair of tights, a pair of ballet slippers, and a simple leotard, will translate into a $50 to $60 to $70 value to a parent. So we have some resources that we help our members with that. And I know there's so many creative ways to do this, but a reminder that now when you're thinking about how are we going to get kids in the door, that is another way.
And I love that tip, Suzanne, because rather than offering a free registration or taking money directly off of tuition or something along those lines, that perceived value where if you're taking $20 to $25 in dancewear and then offering that as a registration benefit and bonus and nice little spiff to your families who register, I think that's a really great idea because, once they have the basics, then they're going to want more. They're going to want and need extras. It could be a dance bag. It could be some logo wear. It could be whatever it may be. So once you get the ball rolling, then it's very easy for them to add on to that as well.
Exactly. And one little bit, if this helps you, once again, our goal of this whole podcast episode is to really help you boost your confidence. And we want to kind of wrap it with this other, really insightful information. So we did a market research study a couple of years back, and we asked dance parents, to rate the various dance brands. And they were given a list of the many, many dance brands out there, from well-known to not so well-known. And we even included a few made-up fictional brands to see what the parents would say. And sure enough, parents rated fictional brands just as high as well-known brands. What does that mean? It means they actually don't know anything about dancewear brands, especially new to dance families. Parents who are absolutely new to dance, have never experienced it, are completely brand agnostic. And what that means is they don't know. They're actually looking to you to tell them what they need. And so therefore, if you can bundle up some basic dancewear into a registration incentive or part of your added value, you have no idea what kind of ripple effect that can have. And so it's a win for you. It's a win for your dance families. It's a win for your business and the overall health. And we couldn't be more excited about supporting you in that area. Anything else to add to that, Jill, before we kind of talk about some of the costume tips?
No, I think that's a really great place to transition into costumes now. Feel very confident in creative ways that you can use dancewear at your studio. I think it's a really great time to now expand your thinking on that. So with that, let's kind of transition right over into costuming.
Exactly. So we know that, once again, reminder tip, write it in pencil of what your prices are going to be this year. It's really important to get all the industry vendor prices as we go into a new dance season before you set them, because as we said at the top, there's a lot of inputs that are affecting everyone's pricing. And so we have to remember, as dance studio owners and dance teachers, that costumes are a very important part of the performing arts dance season. And so there are a variety of ways to do this, but Jill and I feel very confident that it's important to set your pricing beyond the actual physical price of the garment. That when you promote and display pricing of your costume, it is not just the costume, it's the selection, the measuring, the sizing, ordering, filling, fitting, all the accessories, the added garment bag or the hanger, to the bobby pins that go in the hair pieces. There's so much that goes into the price of a costume, Jill. I mean, gosh, we've been down the road so many times. You've got to keep it in mind, right?
And I think this is one of the biggest areas where studio owners almost forget to include that. They look at the cost of the garment and then they say, okay, well, I'm going to double the cost of the garment and that's going to be it. Is that enough though? When you take in all the time of all those things that you just mentioned, just the selection process alone takes quite a bit of time. So we know that there is so much extra that goes into selecting costumes and getting the costumes ordered, fitted on the kids, and then on stage. It's a long process that takes months to do. So please, when you're figuring out your prices and you're doing it in pencil, because things are going to be subject to change, take a look at everything that goes into the whole selection process of those costumes.
Yeah. And lastly, it's just a reminder that it doesn't have to be burdensome on your business when you price it right. So a lot of studio owners dread the costuming because they haven't set the price with that in mind. And so we want to encourage you, if there's something that you're ready to improve this year, it's that to remember that costumes and dancewear can be a very healthy boost to your business when you price it right and you position the value as an incredibly important part of the entire dance education process. Not that you're not bothering anyone to buy this, you're not bugging them, you're not layering on something extra that they don't want. No, actually, this is an important part of our performing arts education. And so no different than colleges and universities don't apologize for having to buy a textbook, because that's an important part of the educational process. You're giving them a garment that helps them express the whole piece that they're on stage for, or it represent, like to Jill, back to your point, the teaching elements of being able to see bodies on the floor moving around. It's all very important. So we mustn't forget that, because like you said, I think we're so in our head about how the dance industry works, we forget that we have to remind dance parents of this information.
Definitely.
I don't know about you, but I'm excited about the new dance season. And I know that it's going to require us to put fresh eyes on things, Jill. It's always good to put a fresh eye on our strategy for the new season. Yeah.
It is. And if you haven't dusted off your spreadsheets in a while, if you haven't taken a look at your bottom line, if you haven't really looked at any type of your pricing and profitability, this is the time now more than ever. You should be doing it on a very regular basis. And that's what I would love for somebody to take away today, is that it is really important for you to do things confidently when you have the knowledge to do it. So if you are looking at your pricing and your strategies and you're taking a quarterly review or even a monthly review, take a look at what's happening so that you can confidently go out and answer the questions to your families when they ask, well, why is this increased? Or why am I paying a registration fee? Why do I need dancewear? Why are we ordering costumes? Well, it's very important for you to know and feel confident with your decisions. And you can only do that if you set it ahead of time and you know what you're doing and what it looks like. Otherwise, you're just flying by the seat of your pants, which is one of my favorite sayings. And that's kind of uncomfortable, especially when you have a parent standing right in front of you asking you questions.
Exactly. Yeah. So that we hope that this helps you with that confidence. Know that you can always ask us anything. Jill, how would our listening crew get in touch if they wanted to reach out?
Absolutely. Please email us at hello@dancestudioowner.com. We answer all of the emails that we see coming in. We can answer questions about membership. We can answer questions about dancewear, costumes, all of the good things that you need to be successful and confident heading into this new season.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Dance Studio 411. Visit us online at dancestudio411.com for more great resources and to submit a question for a future episode. Our number one goal is to help you build a successful dance studio business and keep your passion for dance alive.